Myself, Kamalraj, HOD and Assistant Professor, Department of Digital and Cyber Forensic Science, AJK College of Arts and Science. Today we are going to discuss about the subject as Malware Analysis and Cyber Threat Intelligence. The following topics are we are going to discuss in this section: Introduction, Computer Infection Program, Life Cycle of Malware, Virus Nomenclature, Worm Nomenclature, Tools used in Computer Virology. The first is malware. So, what is meant by malware? Malware is nothing but it is a short form of malicious software. It is a file or code typically delivered over a network that infects, exploits, steals or conducts virtually any behavior an attacker wants. And because malware comes in so many variants, there are numerous methods to infect computer systems. Malware or malicious software is any program or file that is intentionally harmful to a computer, network or server. Types of malware include computer viruses, worms, Trojan horses, ransomware and spyware. Adware, fileless malware, viruses, worms, Trojans, bots, ransomware, spyware. These are most common types of malware attacks in cybersecurity. Computer infection program. Wherever a malware term is used, it means a program which is designed to damage your computer. It may be a virus, worm or Trojan. Virus, what is meant by virus? Virus is nothing but it is a program written to enter into your computer and damage or alter your files or data. A virus might corrupt or delete data on your computer. Viruses can also replicate themselves. With computers, in fact, describes an instance where malicious software is installed onto a computer or other device without a user knowledge. For example, some may install software on a computer that is infected with a virus. Once installed, the program would work as the user intended. How to get rid of a computer virus? Computer viruses are almost always invisible. Without antivirus protection, you may not know how one. This is why it is vital to install antivirus protection on all your devices. If your PC has a virus, following simple steps will help you get rid of it. Step 1. Download and install a virus scanner. It means download a virus scanner or complete internet security solution in your computer. Step 2. Disconnect from internet. When you are removing a virus from your PC, it is a good idea to disconnect from the internet to prevent further damage. Some computer viruses use the internet connection to spread. Step 3. Reboot your computer into safe mode. To protect your computer while you remove the virus, reboot it in safe mode. Are you unsure of how to do this? Here is a simple guide. Turn your computer off and on again. When the screen lights, press F5 to bring up the Advanced Boot option menu. Then click Safe Mode with Networking menu. Remain disconnected from the internet. Step 4. Delete any temporary files. Next, you need to delete any temporary files using Disk Cleaner. Here's how to do this. Click the window logo on the right bottom. Type temporary files. Then choose Free Up Disk Space by deleting unnecessary files. Then find and select temporary internet files in the File to Delete Disk Cleanup list and click OK. Finally, we have to confirm the deleted files which is selected by the user. Step 5. Run a virus scan. Now it is time to run a virus scan using your chosen antivirus or internet security software. Step 6. Delete or quarantine the virus. It means if a virus is found, it may affect multiple files. Select Delete or Quarantine to remove the files and get rid of the virus. Finally, rescan your computer to check there is no further threats. If threats are found, quarantine or delete the files in your computer. Step 7. Reboot your computer. Now that the virus is removed, you can reboot your computer. Simply turn it on as would normally. It is no longer needs to be in safe mode. Step 8. Change all your passwords. It means to protect your computer from further attack, change all your passwords in case they were compromised. This is only strictly necessary if you have the reason to believe your passwords have been captured by malware, but it is better to safe than sorry. You can always check the virus's functionality on your antivirus vendor's website or with their technical support team if unsecure. Step 9. Update your software, browser and operating system. It means updating your software, browser and operating system will reduce the risk of flaws in old code being exploited by criminals to install malware on your computer. How to tell if your computer has a virus? There are numerous signs to look out for that indicate your computer may have a virus. Firstly, is your computer slowing down? If everything is taking longer than usual, your computer may have become infected. Secondly, look out for apps, programs that you do not recognize. If you've seen an application or a program appear on your computer that you do not remember downloading, exercise caution. How to protect the computer from viruses? Here are some keys that you can protect your computer from viruses. Use antivirus software or complete internet security solution like Kaspersky Total Security. For your Android mobile, consider Kaspersky Internet Security for Android. Research applications and software by reading user reviews. Read developer descriptions before you download application and software. Only download app and software from the trusted sites. Check how many download applications and softwares have, then more than better. Check what permissions apps and software ask for. Are these reasonable? Never click on unverified links in spam emails, messages, or unfamiliar websites. Do not open attachments in spam emails. Keep software app, your operating system updated. Use a secure VPN connection for public Wi-Fi like Kaspersky Secure Connection. Never insert unknown USB sticks or disks into your computer. What are the stages of malware? This section shows you how modern web attacks works, broken down into 5 stages. First one is entry, second one is traffic distribution, third one is exploit, fourth one is infection, and finally execution. The cyber attack lifecycle is the process that describes how an attacker would develop or move through a series of activities to effectively enter an organization network and steal data or classified information. Stage 1. Entry. The first part of an attack involves a driven by download from an entry point, either a hijacked website or an email that contains a malicious link. Driven by downloads. A driven by download is the process of inadvertently downloading malicious web code simply by visiting a web page. A driven by download happens automatically and without the user knowing. Stage 2. Traffic distribution. Once a driven by download has reached the browser, the unsuspecting user is redirected to download an exploit kit. However, rather than sending users to no exploit kit hosting sites, elaborate traffic distribution system create multiple redirections that are nearly impossible to track, therefore blacklist. Stage 3. Exploit. It means the next phase of modern web attack, it is downloading of an exploit pack from the malware hosting site. These kits execute a large number of exploits against vulnerabilities in the browser and associated plugins such as Java, PDF Reader, and multimedia players. Once the user browser has landed on a site hosting the black hole exploit kit, it will load files that target vulnerabilities relevant to the victim's computer. It is based on information readily available from your browser. First one is PDF. PDF files with embedded JavaScript attempt to exploit known vulnerabilities in Adobe Reader. Second one is Flash Player. 2 types of Flash files with specially designed code are often loaded to exploit Adobe Flash Player. Third one is Java. JAR files with either JavaScript or applet code are usually the most successful finding and exploit. Fourth one is HTML or JavaScript. Runtime code can be downloaded to target a vulnerability in Microsoft Help and Support Center. Stage 4. Infection. Once the attacker exploits an application vulnerability to gain some control over the computer, the next step in the attack is to download a malicious payload to infect the system. The payload is the actual malware or virus that will ultimately steal data or extort money from the user. The hacker can choose from a wide range of different infectious payloads. Here are some of the most common payloads used today. ZBot. ZS is a Trojan horse that steals personal information by logging keystrokes and grabbing frames in the browser. It is initially targeted Windows machines, but variants have been found in the infected Android mobile devices as well. Ransomware. Ransomware is a class of malware that restricts access users' computer or files, demanding payment to gain access. It primarily targets Windows, but there is also a less harmful but equally annoying Mac variant that recently started appearing. PWS. PWS is a password stealing and remote access Trojan that infects Windows computers. Fourth one is Troping. Troping is a botnet infection which targets Microsoft Windows computers. It uses a rootkit to steal credentials and allow remote access. Fake AV. Fake antivirus installs a rough security software client that appears to be a desktop antivirus application. It scans and finds numerous fake viruses and extorts the user into paying to clean up the viruses. It primarily plugged Windows systems but is now being found on Mac as well. Stage 5 execution. In this final stage of the attack, the malicious payload has been downloaded and installed on the victim system, and now its job is to make the criminal behind it some money. It can do that in a number of ways by providing credentials, banking or credit card information that can be sold on the black market, or by extorting the user into paying directly. Ransomware and fake AV are both examples of malware that extort victims into paying. Let's examine some of the latest variants of ransomware to see what goes on. Virus nomenclature. A virus or malware family describes all malicious samples whose payload have the same or similar source code as origin. There is no clear line when a derivation of a malware source code creates a new family or when it another variant of the same family. The family name can be but does not have to be part of the AV detection name. First one is the post-CARO virus naming convention. The first attempt to make malware naming consistent was in 1991 when a committee at CARO created a new virus naming convention. This was a time where almost all existing malware was also a virus. The naming scheme has influenced today detection names. Most AV vendors use the same or similar components that CARO suggested, but often with their own terminology and ordering. The family name portion of the detection name doesn't exist to denote an actual malware family. CARO's conventions provides 4 umbrella names for significant viruses. The first one is trivial. Trivial for viruses smaller than 100 bytes of codes. The infective length is appended as number to the family name. Second one is silly. It is for viruses that do not contain anything particular that can be used to name them. Modifiers are appended to family name to denote boot sector viruses or type of files that are infected by silly. Example, silly RC for resident virus that infect COM files or silly B for the DOS boot sector infectors. Next one is HLLO. It is for overwriting viruses written in high-level languages. The next one is HLLC. It is for companion virus written in high-level languages. The group name represents a subgroup of malware in the same family, employing the same rules and does and don'ts as the family name. The major variant and minor variant create even more specific subgroups. Often, infective length of the virus or consecutive letters or numbers are used for those components. Detection naming conventions today. The malware landscape has changed since 1991, and so have the means of detecting malware, which might be one reason that the CARO conventions did not work out in the long run. Nowadays, viruses are rare. Most malware does not infect files. Detection name conventions must consider the currently widespread malware types. The file length has lost its meaning for malware identification and grouping, thus it plays no part in detection names anymore. Most malware is packed, more generic and heuristic methods are used to detect malware. Example, instead of identifying a malware family, products may just identify malicious behavior. A lot of signatures are created automatically, resulting in detection names that contain information about the detection technology instead of describing the malware itself. Every AV vendor has their own detection name conventions, but most of them similar components. They usually include platform, malware type, malware family, a variant component, and additional information that is prepended or appended to the platform. If it is a part of the detection name, specifies the execution environment for the malware. This may be the operating system and architecture, a framework, or a programming language. Unspecific terms for unknown execution environments exist too. Example, script may denote any text-like files. The malware types tell something about the behavior of the malware. The malware family component in a detection name is either the actual family name of the malware or umbrella name for a broad range of families if the family is not known. The variant is a detection name, mostly just a counter to distinguish different signatures from each other, whereas in the CARO conventions, it was meant as an actual of the malware family. The variant may consist of numbers or letters or both. In automatically created detections, the variant portions may also be generated from the file itself. Example, via hashing. The modifier component is optional. It adds additional information about the detection. It may further specify the malware's behavior or type or add characteristics about the signature. Example, it may state the signature is heuristic or generic. Trojan fake MS viruses. Trojan is here a default value for unspecified malware. Fake MS is a file that pretends to be a Microsoft file. If you look at the file version information, you will see that the file has indeed Microsoft Corporation in the corporate metadata. Next one is Trojan Win32 Crypt. Trojan is again unspecified malware. Win32 usually stands for 32-bit Windows PE file. Crypt tells us the file is packed. The next one is Win32 or Trojan Spy FD1 viruses. Trojan is unspecified malware. Spy or spyware stands for a malware that monitors the system for useful information like entered passwords and sends the information to the threat actor. The variant portion of the name is of no use for us. Next one is worm nomenclature. First of all, we should know the definition of worm. Worm is nothing but it is a subset of Trojan horse malware that can be propagated or self-replicate from one computer to another without human activation after breaching a system. Typically, a worm spreads across a network through your internet or local area network connections. What is a computer worm? A computer worm is a type of malware whose primary function is to self-replicate and infect other computers while remaining active on infected systems. A computer worm duplicates itself to spread to uninfected computers. It often does this by exploiting parts of an operating system that are automatic and invisible to the user. Typically, a user only notices a worm when it is uncontrolled replication consumes systems, resources and slows or halts other tasks. A computer worm is not to be confused with WRM or write once ready made. How do computer worms work? Computer worms often rely on vulnerabilities in networking protocols such as file transfer protocol to propagate. After a computer worm loads and begins running a newly infected system, it will typically follow its prime directive to remain active on infected system for as long as possible and spread to as many other vulnerable systems as possible. For example, the WannaCry ransomware worms exploited a vulnerability in the first version of the Windows Server message block resource sharing protocol. Once active on a newly infected computer, the WannaCry malware initiates a network search for new potential victims. Systems that respond to SMB v1 requests made by the worm. The worm then continues to propagate within a network through these clients. Malicious attackers can disguise a worm as a non-threatening resource, such as a work file or link which is user clicks on or downloads that's only later revealed as a worm. Worm can contain malicious attachments or payloads that can delete files or let bad actors remotely control users' computers. What is the difference between a worm and a virus? As defined in the Security of the Internet report released in 1996 by the CERT division of the Software Engineering Institute at Mellon University. Computer worms are self-replicating programs that spread with no human intervention after they are started. In contrast, the report noted that computer viruses are also self-replicating programs, but usually require some actions on the part of the user to spread inadvertently to other programs or systems. Next, we are going to say about the types of computer worms. There are 5 types of computer worms. First one is file sharing worms, email worms, instant messaging worms, crypto worms, and finally internet worms. Email worms. Email worms work by creating and sending outbound messages to all the address in user's contact list. The messages include a malicious executable file that infects the new system when the recipient opens it. Successful email worms usually employ social engineering and phishing techniques to encourage users to open the attached file. Next one is file sharing worm. File sharing worms copy themselves into shared folders and spread through peer-to-peer file sharing networks. Worm authors often disguise these malicious programs as media files. The next one is Stuxnet. It is one of the most notorious computer worms to date. Consists of 2 components. A worm to propagate malware through USB devices infected with the host file, and malware that targets supervisory control and data acquisition system. Next one is crypto worms. Crypto worms work by encrypting data on the victim system. Perpetrators can use this type of worm in ransomware attack, where they follow up with the victim and demand payment in exchange for a key to decrypt the files. Internet worms. Some computer worms specifically target popular websites with poor security. If they can infect the site, they can infect a computer accessing the site. From there, internet worms spread to other devices that the infected computer connects to through internet or private network connections. Instant messaging worms. Like email worms, instant messaging worms are masked by attachments or links which the worm continues to spread to the infected user's contact list. The only difference is that instead of arriving in an email, it comes as an instant message on a chat service. If the worm hasn't had time to replicate itself onto the computer, the user can change their password on the chat service account to prevent its spread. Computer worms examples. Worms have existed since the beginning of the internet. Several notable cases spread so far. they caused major network and business disruptions. The Morris worm. The Morris worm was the work of Robert Turpin, Cornell graduated student who was reportedly attempted to enumerate all the systems connected to the Internet, precursors network or ARPANET. Targeting vulnerabilities in several different Unix programs, the Morris worm was capable of infecting a system more than once, making it difficult to eradicate before it produced a denial of service condition on the infected host. The I love you worm. One of the most damaging computer worm server is I love you worm. It was launched in 2000 and propagated malware through email attachments that appeared to be text files, scripts, rhymes, instant messages, chat sessions, and executable renamed with the names of common system files. I love you primarily spread when targeted victims open an email attachment and the malware resent itself to all the victims' contacts in Microsoft Outlook. The malware reportedly affected as many as 45 million users after it was released on May 4, 2000, spreading so rapidly that some enterprises, including Ford Motor Company, were forced to shut down their email services temporarily. The worm caused billions of dollars in damages. The next one is Stuxnet. Stuxnet, first identified in 2010, spreads through file sharing services. Security researchers determined that US and Israeli intelligence agencies created the worm to interfere with Iranian nuclear weapons production. Stuxnet was introduced via USB drive and took advantage of flaws in the Windows operating system to spread, ultimately causing nuclear to malfunctions. Next one is WannaCry worm. WannaCry ransomware uses a worm to infect Windows computers and encrypt files on PC hard drives. It began spreading in May 2017 and affected hundreds of thousands of computers in up to 150 countries. Once the worm logged as a PC's file, hackers contacted the owner demanding payment for a key to decrypt the files. However, even after payment, only a few victims were given the key. So, I conclude the session here itself. Thank you.